Dangerously Close.
My guest today is Kevin Heisinger. Kevin Heisinger was born in a small town in Northern California. He attended college in Sacramento, where he got his start in both film and stand-up comedy. After graduating, he moved to Los Angeles, where he is currently acting and performing at comedy clubs all over. What's up, Kevin?
How's it going? I wrote that bio myself, not to brag. That was I wanted it to sound more exciting, but it's not that.
I just had another person that hit me up like recently to be on the podcast, and I was like, cool, can you just like send me a little bio? And they're like, well, can you just write it? And I was like, I can, but you might not like what I write.
Yeah, it's not going to be accurate, but yeah.
A lot of people whose bios I've written for them, they're like, what?
It's cool.
But, yeah. Well, shit, man, I'm a big fan.
Oh, thank you. So, I have you're one of few. You could. I should start like a fan club or like a little book club. We could all meet, the 7 of us, and just hang out.
Can I suggest books?
Yeah, of course. Okay. Anytime. I like true crime. Those are my fave.
Like in book form?
Yeah.
Like I'm literally trying to think of a true crime book that I've read. I read this one book by Jack the Ripper, but that's because that was a guest. That's it.
Right. Yeah, that was a good. I read one too back in the day. There's so many good ones, especially because it makes you feel like you watch documentaries. Some people watch documentaries. Some people read books. I read books.
Yeah, man.
I mean, I used to.
Well, speaking of reading books, man, you went to college in Sacramento, and
that I did.
What would make someone leave Sacramento, California's true seat of power, to move to Tinseltown, the land of illusion?
Yeah. Oh man. Have you been to Sacramento like recently or at all?
Never been
to
Sacramento.
It's not a nice place. It's not. It's only gotten worse. I lived in kind of a nicer area for part of it in Midtown, but very boring. I'm trying to do stand-up comedy, and it's just has little to offer. There's, I think, 3 comedy clubs and maybe 5 open mics. Yeah, it's really scarce. And when I visited, I don't go there anymore because I used to have parents that lived in Yuba City and they moved. And I remember thinking when I was visiting, like, I don't remember feeling this unsafe. Usually it was kind of I mean, it had its problems, but when I visited, it's just not nice. And I came back to LA and I feel genuinely safe here. I really just, I don't think I can go back.
Dude, you just like brought this memory out of my head, which is crazy. Like it's this 411 skateboard video magazine I had when I was a kid, like literally, like, you didn't get to watch skateboarding on Instagram and shit. You had to have like a fucking VCR. And if you want to, like,
the good old days.
And they had video 411 skate video magazine. So it was like a skate magazine, but it was all video. And there was one dude, nice. He was one of my favorite pros back then in the 90s. His name was Matt Pales, and he was like, yo, I live in Sacramento. And he was like, check it out. Like, this is where I skate. It's like, he's like, the city of Sacramento wouldn't build a skate park. And so we built this ourselves. And it was like the skate park basically made out of trash. And I was like, that's insane, because that's the capital of California. And like, even at that time, like, I'd been to like San Diego and LA and shit as a kid, just visiting, and been like, they have like hundreds of skate parks. Like, how does Sacramento not even have, like, they had to build theirs out of trash?
Yeah, they do now, but it's bad. And it has, I do think it was voted by Stephen Colbert the lamest capital in America. So we have that going for us. It's just weird because when I was living there, I feel like it was slightly getting better. We improved the downtown, and there was like a really cool outdoor mall, and it was getting better. But I think when COVID hit, Sacramento kind of stayed open, and the COVID cases went crazy. And I think everyone just moved there, and it's really cheap to live there. It's just so seedy, and it's sad because I wanted to visit, but then I look in the news and there's so many shootings, and it's just not even.
Yeah.
So
they don't even have a beach, right?
No, they have a very, very sad river, the American River, and it's weird.
It's called the American River.
The American River, and
I've never heard of that.
Yeah, it's It's all right. It's not great. People go to it. They treat it like a beach, but and then it's bad too. But
Man, it's great. I feel like I know California, but I guess like I only ever go to like the top of it and the bottom of it, and there's like
right,
millions of square miles of shit in the middle that like I've never seen.
right. Yeah, I spent my I grew up in Northern California, so I'm very familiar. And yeah, I guess you're not really missing much. There's not much to go see.
Well, okay, I guess all right, man. Getting back to the Tinseltown, like where you're currently at, acting,
Right, yeah.
doing stand
If
up.
you,
This is something just I thought of like, man, this is probably like about a month or two ago. I saw Ryan
nice.
Phillippe walking down the street. And so
Oh,
of course,
nice.
yeah, I was like, hey, Ryan Phillippe, you want to be on a podcast? Like I yelled that out of my car. But I figured like, since you're out there in like Shaky Town, like the Big Orange, you probably see Ryan Phillippe all the time. So
I wish.
what kind of stuff do you yell out of the car at him, man? Like, do you get like, do you like invite him
Did he
to play
say
volleyball or
did
like
he
what?
say yes? Did he
Well,
or did he respond at all?
I don't know, man. I hope I haven't already told this story because like this just happened and I have a bad memory. I wasn't driving. First of all, that was the big problem there. I was in the back seat. I did
Right.
yell out of the car, "Hey, Ryan Phillippe, you want to be on a podcast?" And I did get his attention. However, the person driving, who I will not name on the right now, decided that they would not turn around and drive back, and traffic was moving kind of fast, so he didn't get my contact info, and so I haven't seen him around since. I don't think he probably fucking lives here. I'm sure he lives out.
Yeah, he lives here. It's too bad.
So I mean,
it's
like,
funny you mentioned that because he randomly popped up at the Comedy Store for this show called the No Laughing Show, and the whole point of the show is that they get some celebrity, and it was just randomly him, or it's usually just anyone. Like I know half the contestants, but Ryan Phillippe, they somehow got him to show up at this show, and the whole point is they get him to sit on stage and a comedian does their bit like right in Ryan's face and you just can't laugh. It's a contest. Yeah, these videos of him just sitting there stone cold, not even cracking a smile. So it's funny you mentioned that because I just thought, wow, Ryan Phillippe goes to the Comedy Store. I mean, everyone kind of does, but
I think he seems like a good sport, man. Like,
yeah,
like,
he's cool.
Yo, dude.
I'll ask him next time I see him. I'll give him your info. Just hey, he still wants you to be in the podcast. If you're,
I'm a fan, dude. I'm like, here's one thing, man. I don't take sides in like celebrity breakups and shit. Like, I don't give a fuck about that at all. But like, as a joke, I took Ryan Phillippe's side in like the Reese Witherspoon Ryan Phillippe breakup, and now
I forgot they dated.
Now people think that I'm like literally like a huge Ryan Phillippe stan and like love him so much because I fucking as a joke said that I took his side in the breakup.
That's funny. He's in some he's like the 90s king, he's in some really terrible 90s movies, but we love him. I Know What You Did Last Summer. That's a banger. But
Cruel Intentions.
That's such a weird it's so weird because that movie just does not hold up, and I can't believe people took it seriously. I was laughing my ass off. I didn't know it was supposed to be a drama. I thought it was supposed to be a comedy.
Can I mention a Ryan Phillippe movie that like I don't think it held up like in the day it came out, but it's just like it's absolutely my favorite movie he ever made. It's called Chaos, starring him and Jason Statham. Have you seen that?
I haven't. No.
Okay, so like they're in Seattle, and Jason Statham is like he's like the senior detective on the Seattle Police Department, but he's still got his like British accent. He's like, hello, I'm the senior detective here in Seattle, and I'm going to solve this crime. And he talks like that the whole fucking time. They don't explain why a dude that fucking British is like has been on the. He's like, I've been on the Seattle Police Department force for 30 years, and I've never seen a crime like this. But Ryan Phillippe is like a rookie, but like he's like the only cop that went to college, so he knows math, and that's like how they're solving crimes. Is he's like the serial killer's using algebra, and and of course, it's just, I recommend it to anyone, man. It's called Chaos.
Nice. Yeah, I love a good bad movie. Those are fun. But
I just heard you said you have a podcast as well. I didn't.
Right, yeah. I forgot to mention in my bio. It's my biggest credit. I do a bad movie podcast called Midnight Movie Night. It's a fun time.
I will fucking check that out immediately. Next time I walk my dog, I am listening to Midnight Movie Night, man.
Appreciate it. Yeah.
Do you have
don't forget to like and subscribe.
A film suggestion that you've done that would be like a good like kick it off for me?
On the podcast, yeah, pretty much any episode. We just did Bring It On 3. That was a good one. We tackled a lot of subjects in that because we did it for Black History Month. So, and it's a very racist movie. It's very awkward.
Yeah, I heard that was a really racist movie.
It's so
I never
bad.
got into the Bring It On franchise myself.
There's so many. Yeah, you got to start with like the fourth one. You got to work your way up, but then once you hit the sixth movie, you got to go back. It's kind of like Star Wars. Then you go the prequels 1, 2, 3,
That is
and
fucking
then wrap
insane.
it up with 7.
There's 6 of these
Yeah.
fucking things.
There's 7. They're terrible, man.
Oh my
It's just
God.
and we were talking about it. I think it's just because it's the only Bring It On was kind of the only popular cheerleader movie, and they just went, okay, let's make another cheerleader movie, and
Yeah.
they're all standalone. There's no plot. It's just a different set of cheerleaders every time.
The person from the first Bring It On is not in the second Bring It On.
Kirsten Dunst. No, she didn't come back. I don't think anyone comes back in any of the sequels.
Yeah.
It's
God, if I was her, I would not.
It's just a lazy cheerleader movie they pumped out. It's so funny when there's just that random movie that gets 7 sequels. You're like, why? There's like 4 Jarhead movies. Like, why? There shouldn't have been a second one.
The first Jarhead movie, I was like, okay, I could sort of see how this got made. Yeah, and then they're like Jarhead 2, and I was like, no, you can't make an.
Yeah, it's like it's an anti-war movie. Just okay, and then I made the second one. I'm pretty sure it's just a movie about soldiers that are just fighting. Just okay, and again, it's just an easy. We're making a war movie, and we have the rights to Jarhead. Let's make a second one, or just some sort of action movie that makes no sense, but they just have the rights or the name. I don't know.
Just a little bit more, just about you moving to LA and all this shit, man.
Love it.
I'm just gonna knock some of these out, and then we can get into current events. Okay, here's a really good question about La La Land that I think most people really care about. Who do you think would win in a fight between Ryan Phillippe and James Dean?
Tough one. I don't know. I mean, probably Ryan Phillippe just because he's still alive. But
I meant James Dean, the pornographer.
Oh, James Dean with 2 E's. I'd be rooting for Ryan Phillippe. James Dean's a terrible person. He's like a rapist.
I'll tell you what, man. I don't watch that UFC stuff or any of that pay-per-view shit, but I'd pay $20 to watch Ryan Phillippe.
Hell yeah,
James Dean.
Ryan Phillippe. I mean, he's in good shape. He has not aged since the 90s. So he's looking good. I think I would at least be rooting for him. Ryan seems really cool. James is a terrible person, so he's got my money.
You guys, you heard it here first. Ryan Phillippe would beat the shit out of James Dean. Either one.
Hopefully.
Dead or alive.
Yeah. Nice.
Although, yeah, dude, I saw that little TV series adaptation they did of Shooter. Like that Mark Wahlberg movie, and they remade
another one.
They remade it with Ryan Phillippe. I watched the first season, and I was like, mostly the whole time I was just like, man, he's in great shape.
He's ripped. I mean, he posts about it a lot. Not that I follow him, but he looks great. He's killing it. Proud of you, Ryan. I've been rooting for him. I know he's been popping up. He's really funny in MacGruber, and I'm glad that movie has a cult following, and I'm glad he's came back for the show. But I don't know. He just seems like he's doing his TV thing. It's fine. Is he the greatest actor? I don't know. Not really. He was kind of the pretty boy, and it's hard to like adapt when you're the pretty boy to serious man acting, and you just kind of. But
yeah.
Ryan, if you're listening, miss you, love you, and keep at it. Yeah. I mean, I think he's doing fine. Yeah,
I don't think he gives a fuck about people telling him to not give up. I think he's like.
He's got that Gosford Park money. He doesn't need us. He doesn't. He's milking it. He knows what we did last summer.
Yeah, those are all.
I don't know.
Those are all money makers. All right, man. You know what? I'm running out of nicknames for Hollywood here.
It's okay.
Trying to throw one.
Holly Weird. I don't know. The city that never sleeps.
Yeah.
City of Angels is what they call it.
The City of Angels. All right. Well, anyway, yeah. Shout out Ryan Phillippe. Let's get up on some current events.
Love it.
Are you ready to make sense of the world?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. Let's get into the news, man. I'm gonna hit it up right here. All right. First article is Coming from the Associated Press, hot off the press, the headline is Putin bestows friendship award on actor Steven Seagal. This sounds great. Moscow. Russian President Vladimir Putin on Monday bestowed a state decoration on Steven Seagal, the American action movie actor who also holds Russian citizenship. The awarding of the Order of Friendship was announced on the Russian government's internet portal. The order recognizes people who Russia considers to have contributed to bettering international relations. I don't know, man. Hot takes?
Yeah, Steven Seagal, I could see that. I see he's kind of another terrible person. Yeah, I could see him being Putin's friend. Oh man, have you seen him lately? He's not looking so hot. It's not.
Dude.
He's oh my god, and it's so funny because he surrounds himself. He's one of those people I'm fascinated with that just surrounded by yes men, and so he does. There's a really funny video that went viral where he has this style of karate where he'll just kick someone's ass without moving, mostly because he can't move.
Yeah.
And these people are just running up to him and he barely lifts his arm and they just fall. Oh, and it's just go down so easily just because they think it's such an honor. Oh my god, it's Steven Seagal. But
I know exactly what you're talking. I've watched that particular martial arts expo fucking 100 times where it's
pretty great.
He's supposedly a master of Aikido, which I actually know something about, but that's one of the martial arts I actually took as a kid that
nice.
Because I was like, I was always into like really like woo woo type shit, like especially because like I was like really into Wu-Tang Clan, so I always wanted to do things like kung fu and fucking Aikido. It's like things that involved like chi. And it sucks when you get older and you find out that like it's all fucking like jujitsu and wrestling or like what matters. That's like kind of depressing
in the long run. Yeah,
I mean, or like as far as like in the UFC, like that you're not going to get any Aikido dudes in there because it's kind of make believe.
Right.
But that's what Steven Seagal is selling the belief that he's got so much chi power that he's like throwing motherfuckers across the mat with like a slap.
Right, but in the reality, he's just so out of shape that he can barely move, and now it's bad. And it's funny. These people did an analysis. They watched all of his newer movies and they just reviewed them. And half the movie, he's just sitting down. Half of almost the whole film. It's just half the movies. He's just a sniper. He snipes things that are like 30 feet away. It's so funny. Have you ever seen On Deadly Ground with him? We did that on the podcast. It's pretty amazing.
Is it old?
Yeah, 90s, back in his prime.
If it's in the 90s, I fucking saw it because
it's so fucking funny.
When I was a kid, I thought Steven Seagal was cool as fuck, man. Like remember like the first time
I think we all did.
I saw Under Siege, and I was like,
classic.
Dude is actually. I'll go ahead and say Under Siege holds up to this day. As much as I kind of dislike
it's a fun one. I watched it. That was back when he was okay, but he was. It's interesting because he was in his mid 30s, I think, when he got his big break with Under Siege, and that's why you see him now and you're like, oh god, he's so old. But yeah, the years have not been good to him, but he's not a good person, so I guess it's okay.
He's almost the same age as Vladimir Putin.
Oh, that's why they get along so well.
So fucking wild that he get.
It sounds like something you give to your friend in middle school. The BFF award.
That's the thing with these like world leaders. They do things like that sound like endearing and cute, and you're like, oh, a best friend award. But then he's like a mass murderer, and like people talk about Elon Musk being the richest man in the world, but like it's definitely Vladimir Putin. It's just that most of his wealth is like considered state property.
Yeah, it's not, not all of it's on the books, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, no. I hope it comes with a friendship bracelet, but I don't. But,
if I was the president and I was going to give a friendship award out, do you know who I'd give it to?
I'm a shot in the dark. I'm gonna say Ryan Phillippe.
Yeah, it was gonna be Ryan Phillippe.
You're obsessed, man. Good for you. He seems cool. I'm sad I've never seen him, but I mean, next time I'm driving around, I typically only see famous people when I go to the comedy shows that they're performing at. When it says on the flyer, "Hey, by the way, Bill Burr is gonna be here," and I go, "Okay," and it makes sense. But Ryan Phillippe, and when he popped up at that comedy show, I was like, "Wait, what?" But I don't know if he's done it since, but I hope he does.
All right, man. I'm I'm going to continue on with this fucking depressing ass article.
Love it.
Seagal was a vocal supporter of Russia's 2014 annexation of Crimea, and last year visited the Russian-held Ukrainian town of Oleniv, Olenivka, where dozens of Ukrainian prisoners of war were reportedly killed in an attack for which Russia and Ukraine have blamed each other. Seagal was named in 2018 as a Russian Foreign Ministry humanitarian envoy to the United States and Japan. Jesus Christ, that got like really dark. I didn't read this beforehand. I just read the headline and just assumed I would like to read the rest. Well,
it was a cute headline.
It was a cute ass headline. Real bummer at the end. I guess what have we learned?
I mean, this is gonna be a hot take, and you can quote me on this, but I don't know about this Putin guy. I don't know if I trust him.
I'm gonna go ahead and say, like, if you're a fan of Steven Seagal, you're fucking insane, and you're probably the bad guy.
Yeah, he's lost a lot of fans as of late. His movies have declined in quality. He had Under Siege, and maybe the second one, I haven't seen it, were bangers, but then he just kept releasing movies, but they just progressively got worse. And then a lot of things have come out. He is kind of a terrible person. So,
well, he's got that weird, like,
shocker,
that oligarch money, like, coming in. Like, it's like he owns his own production company. That's how he keeps making these movies. Yeah. He's producing his own shit, and I guess, like, because he's down with Vladimir Putin, he could just keep, like, calling up the oligarchs and being like, "Hey, I need $20 million to, like, pretend to be a," because he made a ripoff of Blade not that long ago.
That's funny. I should see that.
A ninja that fucking, like, kills vampires. I don't fucking know.
It is amazing. Yeah, if you watch, a lot of his stuff pops up on Reddit of just how cringy it is and how the way he talks in some of his movies so bad, but yeah, it's pretty enjoyable. So I do recommend a lot of the Steven Seagal movies. You should check them out.
Listen, these motherfuckers in Ukraine, they don't know that Vladimir Putin is the coolest brother. Like, that's how the fuck he talks, dude. It's goddamn.
I know. It's bad. He's just, I'm all for cringy videos and celebrities going down, and so I've definitely been following up on Steven Seagal. He does pop up quite a bit.
But, you know, man, as far as, like, celebrities in, like, places like Eastern Europe, like American celebrities that are popular over there, I love how Tupac has remained, like, just, it's like he hasn't diminished in popularity at all. Like, in places like just anywhere in Eastern Europe, Ukraine, all that, like, everyone's still, like, got tattoos of Tupac and shit.
Hey, good for them. He was talented. We miss him, but
rest in peace, Tupac. All right, let's keep solving what's happening in the world,
please.
This comes through the Associated Press again. This one is Mexican president posts photo of what he claims is an elf. Let's get into it.
Right.
Mexico City. Mexico's president posted a photo on his social media accounts Saturday showing what he said appeared to be a mythological woodland spirit similar to an elf. President Manuel López Obrador did not seem to be joking when he posted the photo of an Aluxe, a mischievous woodland spirit in Mayan folklore. Hot takes.
I don't know. I think he did. I believe in elves. What's the picture look like? I gotta see it. Let's see.
Are you looking for the photo?
I am. Yeah, I'm not seeing. No, that's not it. I mean, yeah, picture it didn't happen. Like, it can't lead us on like that.
Lopez Obrador wrote the photo was taken 3 days ago by an engineer. It appears to be an Aluxe, adding everything is mystical. This guy, once again, this sounds cool and it sounds like endearing and like something I would like fuck with. But once again, it's like, this is a world leader that probably does all kinds of horrible shit.
I think I don't know what he's talking about. It doesn't look like an elf. It looks just like a creature hiding in a tree. It's kind of creepy, actually. You see that?
Oh, that's definitely a mystical creature. That might be an Aluxe, dude.
Think so? Wow, that's cool. Hey, good for him.
And workers are in the Yucatan Peninsula constructing a tourist train that is the president's pet project. According to traditional Mayan belief, Aluxes are small, mischievous creatures that inhabit forests and fields and are prone to playing tricks on people, like hiding things. Some people leave small offerings to appease them. I'm gonna go ahead and say this sounds more like a pixie than an elf.
Yeah, I didn't want to say anything, but yeah, it sounds more like a pixie.
Sorry, man, that's a pixie. Shit, fucking, I'm gonna.
You gotta get your shit straight, dude.
I mean, especially like now, like, do they not have Lord of the Rings down there? Like, can't they see what an elf looks like? It looks like
Yeah,
Orlando
in
Bloom.
Mexico. Yeah, I think it
All
was
right,
pretty big down there. I don't know.
I don't know. The last time I was in Mexico, I was drunk. I didn't ask anybody
I
about Lord
was
of the Rings.
right. Yeah, I was only 13. I don't think it had come out by then, but I wasn't on my mind. I was just trying to survive.
All right, let's finish off this super fun article. The ancient Mayan civilization reached its height from 300 AD to 900 AD on the Yucatan Peninsula and in adjacent parts of Central America. But the Maya's descendants continue to live on the peninsula. Many continue speaking the Mayan language and wearing traditional clothing while also conserving traditional foods, crops, religion, and medicine practices despite the conquest of the region by the Spanish between 1527 and 1546. That was just like unnecessary. That just seems like a bunch
Nice.
of facts. That's some lazy journalism right there.
Yeah, and if I'm being honest,
All
so
right, man.
so what was it? The Mayans did what exactly?
The Mayans invented eluxes, and
Oh, cool.
and the president of Mexico believes them, and he took a photo of one and he posted it and says it is one. Did we learn
Ah,
anything? What did we learn?
um, you know, Mexico doesn't know what elves are, and they should probably sit down. If you guys got Netflix, yeah, right now Lord of the Rings is streaming, so
Yeah,
sit down and watch it, but also listen because
yeah,
it's an important film. It's really to our history, and I'm a huge fan of the Fellowship of the Ring. I think it's one of the best movies ever. Other two movies are good too. You can watch
yeah.
them.
Well, and I would say this too. It's not the best way to watch it the first time, but if you go on HBO Max, they have the extended movies, so you can
Oh wow,
you can
yeah,
turn
yeah.
like the 3 hour movie into like a 5 hour movie. And
Right. I had trouble with those. The movies are already too long, but The Fellowship is probably good. But I used to have those giant box. That's a pretty good.
yeah, I had it like in a giant box of fucking tapes. Wait, was
Yeah,
that wait, that might have been past the tape era. I don't fucking know.
it was right now. They were still doing VHS around that time. I think they by the third one. I don't know. I think VHS might have been kaput, but
It started out in like 2000. Yeah, and so like VHS's got pretty much like phased out by 2008. So
right,
so yeah,
like
that would make
middle
sense.
there.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that made sense that I had that on tape.
right. Yeah, there were. I do thrift. Sometimes I do see the Fellowship of the Ring in that old school two VHSs. That's a classic. They're classics. Remember those like Titanic or The Godfather? You'd always see those. It's two whole
Yeah.
VHSs.
I remember when I was a kid and if ever I saw like a VHS that like was 2 tapes long, I always thought it was like a really adult movie. I was like, oh, like that's for grown-ups.
Typically, yes.
All right, man.
But yeah,
Let's get back into the news.
love it.
I think we solved Mexico. They don't know what elves are. They should watch Lord of the Rings. Let's take it up to America because there's a crime wave happening in New York. New York City.
What?
New York City thieves stealing Apple headphones off victims' heads. This sounds pretty fucking cool. All right, listen up. At least 21 people in New York City have had their fancy Apple headphones stolen right off their heads by a roving team of moped riding bandits. Police
Say
say.
what?
All right, dude. Shit. Do you have
It's
any
a
kind of takes on that?
it's a moped gang. That's the worst shit.
Sounds pretty
Oh my
cool.
god. And they just go up to people and just jack your headphones. That's a bummer. It seems
Yeah.
like reminds me of that movie The Warriors,
I was gonna
There's
say
like
that.
a like a rollerblading gang, but this time it's a moped gang. If they ever remake it, they gotta have the moped guys coming in. That'd be funny having a chase scene and they're just chasing after you with their mopeds. That'd be
Yeah.
amazing. I think my hot take, this gang deserves at least a documentary or a movie of some sort. So
Dude, you just this just happened again, man. Like where you said something and it just triggered an old memory. That's been happening to me a lot lately. I think my brain's coming back online because I've been treating myself again. I've been like eating healthier food and sleeping like a proper number of hours. So
right, sleep will do that.
Well, it's making my memory come back. But when you were just talking about a rollerblading gang, I just thought about this thing that happened when I was a kid. There was a bully in my neighborhood, and he was like,
oh no,
he was a fucking dick, and he was a bully to everybody, and he always wanted to like beat people up and be a shithead. And I was like skateboarding in the tennis courts, like in like our apartment complex, and he came up, and this is like, I mean, we were pretty little, you know, we were kids, and he like, this is back when rollerblades were like kind of newish or, you know, like big,
right?
And he came rolling into the tennis court on rollerblades to fuck with me. And at first I was like, oh no, it's the bully. Like I was kind of afraid of him because I like generally he could probably have kicked my ass. And I didn't even occur to me at first that he was wearing rollerblades like with that he had wheels strapped to his feet. I had a skateboard that I could just step off of. And he came up and he was like, "What's up, bitch? What's up, bitch?" Which is pretty much how he always like, you know, introduced himself to me. And I was like, "What the fuck?" And then he like pushed me, and then I kicked him in the stomach really fucking hard, just as a kind of a reflex. And he fucking went flying back because he was on fucking rollerblades. And he was like,
that's so funny.
And he hit the fence of the tennis court and was like picking himself up on the fence. And it was funny as shit. And he was like, "Motherfucker, you're gonna be sorry about that." And then he rollerbladed away. So
that's so fucking funny. I have a very similar story. I had this neighborhood kid who was just kind of annoying, and he had rollerblades, and I forgot what he was just messing with me one time, and he was really pissed off. I don't remember why, but he was like eating M&Ms and he kept spitting them at me. It was like, knock that shit off. And he kept doing it and said like, "You spit one more M&M, like I'm gonna fight you." And so he did it. Because he thought what he could do is spit it at me and then run away, like ride away, roll away on his rollerblades. It's like, that's it. And I'm pretty fast. I'm a tall guy. He tried running away, but I chased after him really quickly and I shoved him as hard as he can. This kid ate shit right on the cement. I'm like, nice. And so he stopped spitting M&Ms at me. So that was good.
We've already learned like a huge lesson here. Is that sometimes because rollerblades make you feel like really fast and like, you know, aerodynamic, but they're like the worst thing to put on your body before you start a fight.
Yeah, it's not ideal. Yeah, really. There's only so much you can do.
I mean, I guess like you could put on a straight jacket would be like the dumbest, shittiest thing to put on before a fight, but rollerblades close second.
You think you could ride away, but fast people can catch up. I mean, you're gonna need like a bike or something if you really want to get away.
Speaking of bikes, this moped gang, let's get back into it. The thefts started on January 28th and have typically involved 4 people on 2 mopeds riding up to victims from behind, snatching their Apple AirPods Max headphones, and then speeding off. The noise canceling devices currently retail for $549. God damn, I didn't know that.
Weird.
I want a pair. The Sonics, they call them the Sonic Swipers. The Sonic Swipers have struck all over Manhattan, including one incident in Central Park with victims ranging in age from 18 to 41, police said. The bulk of the thefts happened in mid to late afternoon. 5 headphones were stolen on February 8th, and 8 were taken on February 18th. I don't know, man. Do you see any clues in here?
I don't know how many moped gangs there are. So you could probably catch them. I mean, this is in New York. I'm just curious because I've been to New York. It's a busy place. I don't really know how quickly there's so many people. And if you're on a moped, I just feel like you wouldn't really get so far. I mean, cars, they go maybe 5 miles an hour. There's so much traffic and you're just constantly shuffling between people and stuck. So I would be curious as to how they really could get away. I just feel like
I think, man, the moped is actually an advantage. Like, I mean, that's the beauty of New York. At least for cyclists. One of my homies was living up in fucking, I guess, Brooklyn, somewhere, one of the more like kind of hipsterish parts for a while.
Right.
And he always rode his bike around town, and like there was some dickhead behind him that like kept just like blaring his horn at him for like riding his bike in the street. And finally he got fed up with it. And I guess he was like going to do laundry or some shit. So he had an entire pocket full of change, like a shitload of change.
Nice.
And he just turned around and threw it at the dude's windshield as hard as he fucking could.
Oof.
But because he was in New York, he just dipped out on the bike and was gone. And there's nothing the guy could do about it. So I'm assuming there's a similar thing here with like, you know, mopeds are not wide. So you could probably just like get in the gutters.
Hop on the road. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. You hop on. Yeah. Get on sidewalks. All kinds of shit.
Yeah. I don't know. But it's interesting. Yeah.
I guess
they deserve a documentary.
The first clue we have is these thieves are clearly really, really smart.
Allegedly.
It's weird they only steal one thing. That's also maybe because like they're funny. Let's see what else they have to say. The thieves remain at large and no arrests have been made. Police this week released a photo of suspects riding mopeds and a video showing one of them getting off a moped, carrying 2 AirPod Max headphones, and walking into Washington Square Park. I love that park. Unlike AirPods and AirPods Pro, which are small and fit inside the ear, AirPods Max headphones rest over the ears and have an adjustable headband connecting the. Yeah, duh. Are they saying that for like they think that we're so stupid that we think that they're stealing people's AirPods? That would be so much funnier of a crime to like go up and go like yoink, like just yoink.
That'd be a lot more difficult. I gotta say, those are not big headphones.
Oh my god! All right, man. What have we learned from that story?
Watch out, man. I mean, that's probably why they go for these people, because they're listening to their headphones and they're not alert. And that's why they target these people. So if you got headphones, if they're expensive, you still got to be on alert, I guess. Watch out for those mopeds.
Let's just try and like figure out what we've learned about the whole world today. We learned that Vladimir Putin and Steven Seagal give each other friendship awards. Because I don't know, have you seen the video where Steven Seagal he brings a katana to Vladimir Putin and like bows and hands it to him like he's
oh my god,
like he's a fucking samurai?
No, I gotta see that.
YouTube that, it's pretty good. We learned that the Mexican president has no idea what an elf is, and
unfortunately, yeah.
Or you know, that could be the Associated Press not knowing what a fucking pixie is, because you know maybe they don't speak Spanish, and what he said clearly was like should have been translated to pixie.
Yeah, sounds like it.
And
possibility.
Last but not least, moped gangs are back. New York.
You thought they were gone, but making a comeback.
God, I just so hope someday that a rollerbladed gang that steals shit that like I have like comes in again.
Yeah, there was a brief moment where rollerblades were coming back. I know we have a roller rink here in LA, and I know my neighbor's into that, which is random, but it was. I mean, I don't know. I don't see people riding around in them. That'd be weird, but I do. There are roller rinks. There's at least 2, so making a comeback. We're trying.
Yeah, I just like hope that someone like comes up on rollerblades and tries to like snatch something from me, and then I can like relive one of my highlights of childhood by kicking them in the stomach and watching them fall down.
It'd be quick, but you go, shit. But what you can do, like, oh wait, there's an electric scooter, and you just rent it and then take off after them. But
I've seen people eat so much shit on those fucking scooters. I live in Nashville, man. There's a lot of
nice.
A lot of drunk, just beyond like sloppy drunk tourists that just get on those scooters and fucking like face plant. It's insane.
Yeah, that's typically when people do ride them, is when they are drunk. Yeah. I miss them, but we don't really have them here in LA. I mean, they have them in downtown, but I avoid downtown because it's not a nice area. But yeah, in Sacramento, that is pretty much how I would get around to any of the comedy clubs. I would just hop on a jump scoot, hop over to the club, be like $1.
Yeah, dude.
Miss it.
They passed a law here to like limit them. There used to be millions of them, and now they're actually kind of rare because there's like
I'm sure there's a problem.
Have a few out. Yeah, well, they were a problem because people just kept getting hit by fucking cars, and
yeah,
they were like filling up the emergency rooms.
It's too bad.
All right, Kevin, this is normally where I'd say we're getting dangerously close to the lightning round. However,
we go.
co-producer Colleen left without giving me the fucking lightning round. So
Oh no.
I'm gonna wing it, man, and you're gonna take charge with films from
Love
your
it.
podcast. And if you don't mind, man, doing a cooperative lightning round with me, if you could just name off a film, and I will give it a score from 1 to 10, and I'll tell you why. And I'd love to hear your score as well. Does it sound like a fair lightning round?
So I just list them as fast as I can. Is that what it is?
Oh no, I just like I don't have like I can't like sit here and mull it over. So if you say like Bring It On 4, I can't go like or Google. It's just I got to give you an honest answer based on my gut instinct.
Perfect.
But I trust my
Okay.
instincts.
Yeah.
And if it's a movie I've seen, it'll be real fucking easy. So maybe
There we go.
if you have any that like I might have actually seen that aren't about cheerleading.
Yeah, I might have a feel. We've just hit our 120th episode, so I've been around. So
Hell
let's
yeah.
see. All right, what do you think about Super Mario Brothers, the '90s masterpiece?
Oh, the original. I would give that like a 2 out of 10.
Nice.
I fucking hate that movie. I hate that movie.
But have you seen it lately? It's kind of fun.
I just remember when I was a kid, and got so excited to watch it. I was like, yeah, and I love John Leguizamo. Who's the guy that plays Mario?
Gonna be Bob Hoskins.
Bob Hoskins.
RIP.
I love Bob Hoskins. It's like there's nothing wrong with the cast. It's just that shit was so off fucking base and just like weirdly also kind of like off-putting. Kind of like the Dark Crystal, where it's like it's a kids movie that gives you depression and fucking anxiety.
Yeah, Jim Henson's fucked up. Gotta say, watch Labyrinth. It is a weird movie. All right. Drop Dead Fred. You seen that one?
God, man, I'm gonna give that a that's tough because I know people love Drop Dead Fred. I've only seen it once. I saw it as a child.
Right.
I hated it. I'm gonna give it a 2 out of 10. It is.
But again, it's one of those where if you revisit it and you realize it's about mental illness, you might appreciate it more, but
it has like some kind of undertone with like a lesson in it.
Yeah, that's another really dark movie. I think it's about, suppressing some childhood trauma, and that's what Fred is the trauma. It's kind of like the Babadook for kids, but it's not even for kids, like PG-13. It was weird.
Okay. Dude, if it's like because I like the Babadook, I'll check it out again. If it's like, if you're telling me it's got Babadook vibes.
Yeah, I mean, it's not.
Let's go back. Let's go back one because
similar.
You're not, because you didn't share your scores. So what?
Right. So Super Mario Brothers, upon revisit, it's still pretty terrible. I give it like a 4.5 out of 10. I'm going to give it a slightly higher because it is very enjoyable, and it has nothing to do with Mario. And once you put that aside and you realize this is just a bizarre movie about fungus, and it's weird. So it holds up in a bizarre way. It is enjoyably bad. Same with Drop Dead Fred. I'd probably even get that with a 5 out of 10 because when I first watched it when I was younger, I thought it was really terrible. I hated it, but I didn't realize that there are some very dark themes in there, and I do think it is worth rewatching for both.
And quick question, man. This is like I'm asking you to be like prescient, but
love it.
What do you think you're going to give the new Super Mario starring Chris Pratt?
Even if I do see it, I don't know. It's hard to say. It looks kind of good. I was kind of chuckling at the trailer. Maybe 6 out of 10 if I do see it. It looks okay, but that's my guess. Maybe lower.
Time will tell. All right, let's keep it going. I'm loving this. This is fun to do the lightning round reversed.
Perfect. Okay. Cocktail with Tom Cruise. You seen it?
Oh, dude, Cocktail. I'm gonna give that a motherfucking 9.
Oh, wow, that's surprising.
I really enjoy the movie. I like that his best friend's name is Doug. That's my name.
Oh,
I really enjoy like when he's like in the beginning. This is another movie I've only seen once, but there's parts of it that made impressions on me. He just got out of the army, right? That's kind of like the deal with him.
I guess
he was like a soldier, and this is like his first time getting a job that's not a soldier. And he's young, so he's like 20. He did like his 2-year tour. And he's like keeps going and like applying for jobs at Wall Street fucking like hedge fund companies where he has like no possible chance of getting the job. And they're like, do you have any experience with like running a hedge fund, and he's like, no, but I'm a fast learner, and that's what he says to everyone. I think it's very fun. And then I love when spoiler alert for anyone that hasn't seen Cocktail, when like Doug decides to like slash his own throat with a bottle of champagne because
that's the way to do it.
Because his restaurant's not doing well. Oh man.
I guess that's why I did it. Yeah, I don't know what I would give, like 5.5, maybe 6. It is very enjoyably bad. It's definitely better than most bad movies, but it's competently made. But it's just like, what am I even watching? It doesn't have anything to do with bartending. It's called Cocktail. And at the very last second, when the guy kills himself for really no reason, and he leaves a suicide note, and he goes, well, sorry about that. Oops. And he chuckles in his suicide note. Anyways, enjoy your life, I guess. And it has nothing. Something terrible happens, and they're just kind of like, and they just roll it over. Just anyway, and that makes me laugh so hard. There's no effect on the plot.
My restaurant's not doing well, and then he goes onto his fucking sailboat that he owns. He's so rich he owns his own sailboat, and slashes his throat because he's like financially not doing as well as he thinks he should be. And he leaves a suicide note that's like, well, LOL.
Yeah, it's I'm just bored. When you look at yourself and you're kind of sad, lame. Anyways, that's why I slashed my throat. I wrote this in my own blood. Just what?
Damn it,
and then just roll it over. Just okay. Well, that's sad. Anyways, and then he has 2 kids and just moves on.
I got to point out before we move on to another what I found great about that movie is like, so they're like the kind of bartenders that flip the bottles and like do like bottle stunts, and that's
the flair.
They do flair, and that's supposedly why their bar is so popular, is because everyone in New York wants to come watch these 2 bartenders like flip bottles around while they make drinks. And I was like, dude, if I was ever at a bar, especially if it was like 3 deep at the bar and I wanted a drink and the bartenders were doing that, I would be infuriated.
I would go to another bar. It'd be so stupid.
I would leave. I'd be like, how are you guys serving this? Like, all right,
it's so dumb. Especially, not only is he flipping the bottles, he does slam poetry. He stands on the bar and everyone is amazed by it and just, oh my God, it's the best. And that's what you do. I always love it when my bartenders read to me like a bedtime story. It's so cute. But anyway,
I guess it's like if bars weren't about drinking and they were just about watching, like,
hanging out,
not great like magic tricks or just not great juggling.
Right.
All right. Next movie,
Anaconda.
Oh, dude, Anaconda. So goddamn hard to remember, but I remember they were trying to kill
a classic
Ice Cube and J-Lo in that. And
that they were.
And I do remember the scene where like one of the scientists gets eaten, and then you see the anaconda go by, and you can like see him like inside the anaconda, like still screaming somehow.
Yeah, classic. It's gonna be 8 out of 10 for me. It's amazing. It's so good.
Anaconda's gonna
so funny.
I'm gonna roll with you on an 8. The problem is like some of these movies, like, these are things that I haven't seen in like possibly like 15 years.
Hey, it's worth a rewatch. That's what the podcast is all about. That's a fantastic film. Highly recommend. It's a fun one. What else do I got? Did you ever see Cool as Ice, the Vanilla Ice film?
Dude, I've only seen clips, and I'm already going to say that I probably will give it a pretty high score if I had seen it.
Oh my God. It is. I cannot even describe to you. It's one of my favorite bad movies ever. It's going to be a 9 out of 10 for me.
All right. You heard it here first, guys. If you haven't seen Cool as Ice, and also I haven't, it's time for us all to go check it out. It's a 9 out of 10.
It's a banger. And Vanilla Ice is hilarious. Anyway, another adventure one, Congo. You ever see that one?
Oh,
Tim
Congo?
Curry.
Tim Curry,
Ernie Hudson. That's
a Michael Crichton movie, right?
That it was. It's right after Jurassic Park. They're trying to ride on the
Congo was fucking sick, dude. I'm gonna give that an 8 out of 10.
Classic. 7 out of 10 for me. It's funny.
Loved it. They had like those special machine guns set up to like stop the like hyper intelligent gorillas that have been trained by like some ancient civilization to guard their gold. I mean,
you can't go wrong.
They don't make movies like that anymore, man.
They don't. It's a throwback to those adventure movies like The Mummy. I miss these '90s classics.
Yeah,
They're
that's a '90s
trying.
classic.
They tried with the Jungle Cruise. It was weird. I don't know. The
Oh man.
Rock cannot act or do stand up, and he was trying to do both in that, and it's rough. It's really, but good on him. At least he tried.
Dude,
Should probably
no,
do that on the podcast.
yeah, I would say if you're gonna compare Congo to Jungle Cruise, that's like, ugh, come on, forget it. Congo
Forget
wins
about it.
Congo
I know
wins by a landslide.
it's so much more fun. At least I knew it was dumb, I guess.
All right, let's do a couple
Yeah.
more, man.
All right. One of my personal favorites, Dreamcatcher. You see that one?
Dreamcatcher, 10 out of 10.
Yeah, I was gonna say the same. I don't know how many movies you can say a group of friends who have psychic powers must gather together to stop aliens from coming out of their ass. Like it's
God, it's so fucking good. Isn't that
poetic.
Is that Jason Lee that shits out the alien? Is he in that movie?
Jason, he tried. He doesn't shit it out, but it does eat him. But they try to stop it. Yeah, I got Jason Lee, loaded cast. I mean, Morgan Freeman, Tom Sizemore, R.I.P.
Yeah,
Tom Jane.
Yeah, Tom Jane.
Timothy Oliphant.
And yeah, Timothy Oliphant, I love him too. Justified.
And this is the guy that directed The Empire Strikes Back.
Yeah.
And he's adapting a Stephen King movie and it comes out like that. I mean, I'm just flabbergasted.
Honestly, it's probably one of my absolute favorite Stephen King films.
They're gonna go that far?
Way up there. Fuck yeah, man. That movie's
You think you're better than The Shining?
I like it better than The Shining for sure.
Green Mile? Shawshank Redemption?
I don't like it better than The Shawshank Redemption. And I've never seen The Green Mile.
Shit. Well, it's not a happy watch, and it's not a short movie, but it's a good one. It won.
Like
I think it won some
the guy that has the memory palace, and you actually can go into it, and they like create a physical world for his memory palace. That's interesting filmmaking, man. That's some cinema.
I mean, I wouldn't. Yeah, I mean, I do enjoy it. I don't think it's not Stephen King's best work, but it's. I think there are much better, but it's fine. And what should we end on? What's another good one?
I'm excited. I want to know that.
Oof. Yeah, this is
a banger. What is it?
A banger. I hope you've seen the Wicker Man remake with Nicolas Cage, because that's a funny one.
God damn it. I'm gonna go.
Oh, you haven't?
Most likely, when it comes to Nicolas Cage, he's so fucking hit or miss because Matchstick Men, I'd throw that like a 9. And then also like I would say like practically almost everything he makes, I hate. Nicolas Cage is like, he could seriously like come out with a movie that I'm like, oh, that's a fantastic film. I'd watch it over and over again, and then make 10 movies in a row that I think are garbage.
Well, yeah, because he has to put out, my girlfriend knew a guy, like was his manager for a while, and his expenses, he told him you can't spend all this money on, you can't just buy a castle and buy all this expensive shit. And he got so annoyed that he just quit. Really.
Yeah. Oh yeah, because didn't he like buy a dinosaur bones? Like he bought
dinosaur skull and all sorts of just artifacts, but then I think he got divorced and couldn't really pay it off, so he had to sell all this stuff, and that's why you see him in everything. But he can still fund cool indie projects like Mandy, and Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent was very fun. So I'm just happy we got Nicolas Cage in our lives.
Like, I don't want this to come across as though I hate Nicolas Cage. That's not the case. It's just I hate a lot of his movies.
Well, yeah, his movies are bad. I'm not saying that. I just love him.
Well, hey, I want to end on a movie that I have seen. Can we do another one?
I've seen Master of Disguise.
No.
With Dana Carvey.
No. I know that ended his career, but I haven't seen it.
Let's see. What is one? What about? Do you see The Last Dragon? That's a good one.
No.
Oh shit! Deep cuts.
I watch a lot of fucking action and sci-fi. Do you got any of that?
Battlefield Earth. No. John Travolta.
God damn.
Oh, striking out. The Island of Dr. Moreau.
Ooh.
Marlon Brando, Val Kilmer masterpiece.
7.
Yeah, it really is it's almost a good movie. And especially if when you watch the documentary about making it and what a shit show it was, it makes it even funnier. It's really
I love that
crazy
Marlon
film.
Brando was like literally going completely insane by that point.
Everyone was, yeah, especially him. It was so bad.
I guess you guys reviewed it. You know the story of the floppy hat, right?
It had what did it have like a wire going into his ears, giving him the lines or whatever?
No,
Walkie-talkie.
he said he would only do the movie if he was also a mutant animal, and they're like, okay, and then he was like, and they like had to make all these concessions with him, so he was a half dolphin, and
Oh my
his
god.
blowhole was on top of his head. That's like in his imagination, so that's why he always wears a floppy hat. And every scene in the movie is to hide his imaginary blowhole so that he could be a dolphin. That's because Marlon Brando was like, my character is a fucking animal mutant and it's a dolphin. And they're like, okay, Marlon Brando, you're like, we can't do this without you. So fucking fine.
He was trolling so hard. Val Kilmer is being such a bully because he's going through a divorce, and then Marlon just said, "Fuck it, I'm gonna do whatever I want. This is gonna be just ridiculous." And the director was just so frustrated, and the production went. Farouza from
Fairuza
The
Balk.
Craft. Yeah,
Yeah. She's the craft person.
I know she tried to flee production, but they told her if you do that, you're never going to work in Hollywood again because they're going to sue you. So she had to, oh god, tough it out. Poor her, poor everybody, really. But the movie, at least, it turned out great.
Yeah, not poor
It was
audience. It was
hilarious.
a fucking sick ass movie.
Yeah, it was a fun one.
Kevin, man,
Yeah,
I appreciate you being a good sport and lightning rounding me because of
course.
disorganization here in my office. But I got one last question for you, man. And it's the most
Love
important
it.
question of the day. Dude, where can people check you out? Find your comedy. You got any shows coming up? Actually, if it's this week, don't say them because this won't come out until next week.
Yeah, no, follow me on Instagram and Twitter at Kevin Heisinger. Also, my podcast, Midnight Movie Night. We're available on all platforms, and that's where I post where all my shows will be and where all my podcasts are.